what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, the most recent physique update from Hadi, which he says in the caption was from today. So now we're right around the 12-week out mark from the 2025 Mr. Olympia. And I say this pretty much every year. Once you get to like that 12 weeks, the time between now and the Olympia is going to absolutely fly by. And before you know it, we're going to be talking about 6-week out updates, 4 weeks out, peak week, and then the Olympia itself will come and go. It's very, very fast once you get to this point. And I think probably Hadi is the guy to keep an eye on the most as we get closer to the Olympia. What kind of updates is he posting? Does he look like he's still prepping for the show? Does he look like he still intends to compete? And that's why I wanted to talk about this update today, because not only does he look like he's clearly prepping for the show at 12 weeks out, but also today he reposted on his story a bunch of Olympia, I guess it was just old pictures from the Olympia, but Olympia-themed reposts. I feel like the intention was to show that he is still planning on competing at the Olympia, but the reason why I say we should watch closely is because he was runner-up last year. He is right at the front of that line as far as potential winners this year are concerned. He's the guy. But I still think it's going to be more difficult for Hadi probably than any year prior that he's competed at the Olympia. As far as getting his visa, I feel like this is going to be the hardest year for him to get a visa as an Iranian bodybuilder. And I think that could potentially be the biggest story of the year. If he's not able to get to the Olympia, that decision of not letting him compete or not giving him the visa in time or whatever might prevent him from competing, that decision could be preventing the next Mr. Olympia from winning. He could very well be the guy that wins this year. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Will we see Hadi on the 2025 Mr. Olympia stage? Now, next up in the news, there was an update from Goodvito today. Now, I want to be clear, this was not from his Olympia prep. This was from his prep this year for the Arnold Classic Brazil, a few weeks out, he says in the caption. A lot of people did think this was an Olympia prep video, but we're 12 weeks out, and he looks way ahead of 12 weeks in this video and says it's not recent. But I think recently I've gained a new appreciation for Goodvito's physique, and I wanted to show this video because going into the Olympia, if we're talking about some of the newcomers that realistically could crack the top 10, and especially with the recent conversation surrounding Rubiel Mosquera, Nexzilla, and seeing, all the talk about how crazy his legs are, etc. And I started looking back at Goodvito because I feel like of the recent newcomers, Goodvito has the craziest quads, the craziest lower body in general that we've seen in a long time. And the more that I look at videos like this and compare to Nexzilla specifically, just the level of separation. I mean, the size is one thing. He's got really big legs. That's not even up for debate. But just the crazy separation that Goodvito brings with that size in the lower body, especially compared to somebody like Rubiel that's become known for his lower body, just the difference that you can see. The deep cuts, cross striations, just really, really well-separated legs that are gigantic. And this isn't even the day of the show. This was a few weeks out of him competing, and I think that makes it even more impressive. And it's the same when he's from the side, from the back, just really deep lines, really deep cuts, hamstrings, glutes, quads, everything dialed in. And it's just a stark contrast to what you see for Rubiel. And now, with Rubiel having won 2 shows, there's now people talking about him being in the top 10 at the Olympia. And so when I go back and look at Goodvito, I feel like Vito has a much more realistic shot at being in the top 10 at the Olympia than Rubiel. I think he's kind of been forgotten about a little bit because of the fact he competed so early in the season, and also because of the fact that he was not able to compete at the Pittsburgh Pro due to that injury to his lat. But I think if we're talking Olympia debuts, it will be both Goodvito's and Nexzilla's. I think Vito will place significantly higher than Rubiel. That's my very early prediction. And when I look at a video like this, it just really reinforces that in my mind, that Vito is the real deal. Now, next up in the news, the latest physique updates from Nick Walker, and this is how you can tell we're kind of shifting gears now. as the competitive summer is winding down a little bit. We're starting to talk more about guys posting Olympia prep updates, and Nick is one of those guys. He posted this update of his lower body today, but I'm more impressed by the update he posted 2 days ago. This just absolutely absurd, most muscular, in some crazy gym or posing room goon light. I know that Nick's gotten a lot of hate in the last 2 years, missing these two Olympias. I feel like after seeing him in Pittsburgh and after seeing him in New York, I have a renewed faith in what Nick Walker is going to be able to achieve at the Olympia this year. I don't think he's going to win, but I have a renewed faith that he is capable of cracking that top 3 this year. I was very, very impressed with what we saw in Pittsburgh. I was convinced, well, he technically did beat Derek at prejudging. I was convinced he was winning that show, but Derek pulled it out at the finals. And I even saw in a recent interview that Nick had said he's not worried about Derek. If he's in shape, he can beat Derek. That's what he said. And I actually believe that. He says, look, Derek is beatable. And I think that Nick proved that at the Pittsburgh show. Derek had just beaten, I know it seems like forever ago now, but Derek had just beaten Sampson at the Arnold, which in my opinion at that point had put Derek as the favorite going into the 2025 Mr. Olympia because he just beat Mr. Olympia at the Arnold. But then for Nick to beat him, even if it was only at prejudging, even if Nick was only ahead at prejudging, for Nick to beat this new Derek that had just beaten the reigning Mr. Olympia, Samson Dauda, after Nick has been gone from the Olympia for 2 years, I think that did what Nick set out to achieve and put Nick back in that conversation in a real way. And when I see the updates like this, the couple updates that we just saw, that we just talked about, I feel like Nick has that freak factor back. I feel like he has that confidence back that he is going to be able to do something like that. And just like how we mentioned Hadi earlier in the video, I really do feel like if Hadi, for whatever reason, is not able to compete at the Olympia, I feel like that door is really open for Nick to have a really high placing this year. Now, in addition to this, so we are going to be talking about a lot of Olympia updates in this video. In addition to this, we got kind of an update from Brandon Curry. It was more of an ad for a clothing line than anything else, but he was posing in this ad, in this video, and he is competing in the Masters Olympia, which is 2 months prior to the regular Olympia. So that right now puts us about 3 weeks out from that competition. And right now, we don't really know who else is going to be in that show, but it is going to be a nice preview of Brandon's physique 2 months before the Olympia, so it'd be like 8 weeks out for him. And that is, I guess, assuming that Brandon is still competing in the regular Olympia and assuming that, let's say he wins the Masters Olympia, he doesn't just retire there and like end his career on a high note, which is a possibility. I mean, he was still in the mix at the Arnold Classic this year. He was top 4. He is 42 years old. Last year's Olympia, he was 9th, so still top 10, still in the mix. But that was his lowest Olympia placing in a very long time, just this past year. So 4th at the Arnold, 9th at last year's Olympia. Is there a possibility that Brandon could place outside of the top 10 at the Olympia this year if he does the regular Open Olympia? I think that is a possibility, and that's what makes me kind of wonder, will he take the opportunity to, he's probably realistically going to win that Masters Olympia, and would he take the opportunity if he does win that show to just go ahead and retire there on a nice big win and a nice high note? Because it has been kind of steady ever since his Olympia win, and especially over the last few years. It's been kind of a steady decline in these placings, and not really any sign of him moving back up. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, and there's really not been any more updates on this. I made a short video about this yesterday, but so basically Victor Martinez, he was around in the same era as Ronnie Coleman, most notably probably the 2007 Mr. Olympia. A lot of people felt like he should have won that show. Victor had some sort of medical emergency which required him to have surgical intervention. And the only update that we got confirming this and directly from Victor himself was this post on his Instagram, where he says, "First, I want to start by saying thank you to everyone that has tried to reach out to me and is wishing me well. To have physical and mental health is to be blessed, and if we ever lose one or the other, we can only try to regain it. I'm currently working on that, so with whatever energy I have to spare is respectfully being saved for my beautiful kids and family. Thank you. I appreciate your understanding. It hurts, so let's try to take a nap and recover." So again, this is the only update that we really have from Victor himself. I don't know how severe this is compared to what happened with Ronnie, but of course it's never great to hear this about any bodybuilder, especially two bodybuilders that are kind of from that same era, Victor and Ronnie, within weeks of each other having medical emergencies that seem to be relatively serious. I mean, I would imagine any medical emergency that requires surgical intervention, which was the way that Victor's situation was reported, is probably pretty serious. But I think it would be cool to do the same thing that we did for the first Ronnie Coleman video when we first heard about Ronnie's situation, and that would be to comment your favorite Victor Martinez moment, or maybe your favorite Victor Martinez memory. I don't have really very many Victor Martinez stories, or really any at all. I think I only met him one time when he was competing at the Arnold Classic. But I would say one of my favorite Victor Martinez memories, probably, I really liked watching the MHP, when he was with MHP, the documentary they did. It was like a YouTube documentary. It was like a day in the life kind of for Victor Martinez. And I really enjoyed that. I remember watching that when I was younger. It was one of the few, dedicated documentaries to a single bodybuilder on YouTube at that time, and I thought it was really interesting. So that's probably my favorite Victor Martinez memory, quote unquote, because in 2007, which was his biggest Olympia, I would have been only 13, and I don't believe I had watched my first Olympia yet at 13. But let me know your favorite Victor Martinez memory / story in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already, and as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power, my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.